You and I sit at a desk 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's easy to think that that is what's holding us back from lower scores. But from this point forward, that desk is where we're going to actually fix our game. Because 2/3 of the shots that you're losing on the course have nothing to do with your golf swing. There are 5 things you can do starting today that don't really require you to touch a club, but research shows that they can knock 5 to 10 shots off your score. I know that sounds crazy, but we'll get into that research later. And one quick thing before we jump in is if you're watching this video, you're like me with limited time. I built a 59-minute practice plan that you can also adjust down to 30 minutes if need be. It's in the link in the bio, but it's been super helpful for a ton of people like you and me. The fastest way to drop shots on the course is to improve your course management, because after we finish a round, typically we don't think back on the fact that we didn't have the skills to do something. We think back on the fact that we went for that green when we really shouldn't have, or we maybe tried to pull a chip off that we normally wouldn't be able to. The average 15 handicapper makes less than 1 birdie every 3 rounds, but they make 5 doubles or more every single round. You're not going to be able to out birdie that many doubles. This is where things get interesting for the 9 to 5 golfer specifically. Scott Fawcett, if you haven't heard of him, developed Decade. And the primary thing in Decade when it comes to course strategy is understanding your shot pattern. So how wide is the shotgun blast of a normal 7-iron for you, or a normal driver? For example, when Jason Day was #1 in the world, his driver shot pattern dispersion was 74 yards wide. How do you practically apply this when you go play tomorrow or this weekend though? Aim at the center of the green and take your chances. Another big takeaway, take one more club. And I bet that you're not going to hit it over every single green. This will absolutely take time, but the earlier that you start thinking about course management from a risk perspective, as opposed to from a can I pull off this 1 in 100 shot perspective, the quicker that your handicap is going to... All right, lever number 2, and this makes me feel weird about this chair that I'm sitting in. We're going to call this daily micro mobility because it's not this full mobility routine, but Dave at TPI, if you don't know who he is, basically the founder of all biomechanics behind golf, has screened over 90,000 golfers, a full physical screening that takes quite a long time. He found that 67% of amateurs early extend at the ball. Now, I don't want to get too into swing stuff because I'm not a swing genius, but 99% of pros, according to him, don't early extend, and 67% of amateurs do. Now, what's that coming from? Tight hips and a lack of thoracic mobility, or your ability to twist your upper body versus your lower body. I'm not a PT, so I looked into the most effective stretches, and I'll demonstrate them for you too. Embarrassingly, just takes 5 to 10 minutes a day. Some of these I already did, which was great, but some of these I'm going to start doing. The first one is a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. I actually love this one. If you just do it for 30 seconds on each side, maybe even a couple times a day, like I can guarantee this one will make you feel better. The second one, also coincidentally something I've done previously, is the 90-90 hip drill. According to TPI, this is the single best mobility drill too, which is sick. Another one that's actually really embarrassing to record myself doing. Third is thoracic spine rotation. Holy crap, it took me a long time to say that right. Hands on your head, rotate your upper body, leave your lower body stable. This one's awesome. You can also do this with like a dowel or even a old shaft. Just make sure you don't break it over your head. Finally is glute bridges. I'm not going to be demonstrating this one. You know what it looks like. I might just put up a graphic, but these ones really get those glutes firing. Shout out to Tiger.
My glutes are shutting off.
All these you can do in less than an episode of The Office, and it'll leave time for the third big lever, which is just rolling putts at home. Now, I know that this might seem a little bit generic, but we'll get into kind of the minutia about how you can get the most out of this time. Putting is the second most important category according to strokes gained relative to scoring. But I don't think that you should be spending all your time outside putting from 3 feet. I think you can do a lot of that in-house so that when you do get outside, you can spend that time rolling lag putts or working on your approach play. So if you've got the space or you've got a nice carpet, or even you can grab like a little putting mat, try to spend 15 minutes a day while you're watching The Office or a YouTube video or listening to music, rolling a ball through a gate, working on your setup. Do the things that you don't want to have to waste your outdoor time doing. Research has shown that doing little things every single day is significantly better for long-term development than doing one big session once every week or month or year. I know this has helped me a ton personally when I get up and make breakfast, or if I've got something in the toaster, I come in here and roll some putts, and I'm kind of constantly rolling putts throughout the day. even if it adds up to 10, 15 minutes a day. But I finally got out to play golf yesterday, which was sick, and my putter actually felt great, even though I didn't hit any warm-up putts. Shh, don't tell anybody. Speaking of ways to fill some dead space, lever number 4 is just mental rehearsal. And I know this sounds like some kind of kooky idea that like a sports psychologist would tell you about, but hear me out. A 2021 meta-analysis looked at decades of research on imaginary interventions in sports. They found that those mental rehearsals offered a medium effect on motor learning. A while ago, I interviewed Brad Smith on our podcast, and he talked about this too, where he started playing significantly better in events when he would start thinking through holes ahead of time, or he would start thinking about hitting the right shot at the right time. Now, we're all about efficient and effective, so I tried to find a really good protocol, and the protocol I found is called PETTLEP: Physical, Environmental, Task, Timing, Learning, Emotion, Perspective. It's a lot of letters. I'll put it in the description. And when researchers applied this directly to golf, they actually found a 29% improvement in putting performance. Once again, I fully understand that you can skew any research however you want, but at a bare minimum, it helps. And fMRIs have shown that visualizing a swing has the same effect on your brain that actually hitting a good shot does. This is probably the most underutilized lever out of everybody in amateur golf, myself included. Now, while those take time, lever 5 is a way to use the time that you have more efficiently. So when you do get out to the range, which research shows that the average amateur golfer practices for about 1.2 hours per week, and about 80% of that goes to full swing, we're going to use that time efficiently. If I had to guess what your current range session looks like based on going to public driving ranges for years, you probably do at least one of these 3 things. You decide what you're going to work on after you've dumped the balls out on the range. You hit the same club until it feels good, and then you move on. And you have no real way to measure if that session was a success. What this ends up doing is you hit a bunch of balls, as many as you possibly can in the short amount of time, with no real goal in mind, and you're most likely practicing the wrong things relative to what's going to help you score better. So let's fix those 3 things. First, how do you decide what to work on when you get to the range? Well, if you have no clue where your game is at right now, let me tell you, approach play is number 1 when it comes to strokes gained, putting is number 2, off the tee is 3, and chipping is number 4. So as your time gets more and more limited, we take things away. And like I said, you can download that free 59-minute practice guide below. So therefore, the most important skill when it comes to scoring is being able to hit an approach shot correctly the first time. And in order to do that, you have to randomize targets and randomize clubs while you're on the range, which leans into the second problem of you hitting until a club feels good. We need to set specific targets or specific constraints. So I want to hit 3 out of 5 balls from 100 yards inside of 60 feet. If you want to know what baselines you need to be at as well, I'll put that down below. I've got baselines for every single off the tee, approach, chipping, putting stat that you could ever think of. But structuring this practice around specific goals and baselines will actually allow you to know if you're getting better or worse as you're practicing. It's kind of like if you were to go to the gym one week and bench press 135 5 times for 3 sets. And the next week you do 110 4 times for 2 sets. But if you weren't tracking any of that, you would never know if you were getting stronger or not, which means that we need a way to measure all these things, which is kind of part of that hitting the same club until you feel good. We need to randomize targets with specific baselines and understand that approach play is number 1. Kind of jumbled all that up into the same thing, but hopefully it made sense. You can also apply these concepts to every part of your game. Off the tee, pick different fairways downrange and alternate between them. When you're chipping, make sure you're not chipping to the same hole twice. And when you're chipping, I would also encourage you to go putt out, because that's what you have to do on the golf course. And when you're putting, make sure you're not only changing what putt you're hitting, but change the hole as well, because you learn something on every single putt around each specific hole. You really don't need more time to get better at golf. If anything, I've gotten significantly better at golf with the less time that I've had. You just have to be smart about it. I truly believe that you can get better no matter how much time you have, no matter what the facilities you have access to. You can make your time efficient and effective and actually start shooting the scores that you want to shoot, even if you've just got a little bit of time each week. Golf is just a blast, being able to go spend time with people, and ultimately that's what it is. It's a game, we're supposed to have fun, but you know what's also really fun? Shooting low scores. Getting better at the game. So I'm not going to drag this out any longer because you've got limited time. So look down the description. I put all 5 things down there. Go get after it this week. And if you want those baselines, you want that 59-minute practice plan, also down below. Don't go watch this video. Please go practice.